John Solomon and I sat there and talked for the last 10 minutes about big things that have happened since Donald Trump became president a little more than 24 hours ago. We didn't even get to the J6 pardons of 1,500, some of which are still being held. We're going to get to that a little bit later in the program when we get Jake Lang up here to talk about why he's still being held. We didn't get to that, but we do want to get to this. Another major shakeup. Admiral Linda Fagan, the Commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard, relieved of duty. It comes with the growing scrutiny over her woke agenda and DEI policies within her military branch. Time after time, she prioritized diversity, equity, and inclusion and woke policies above border security and doing her job and protecting our nation and the coast. Here she is highlighting her excitement for diversity. Listen to this.
We currently have nearly 40% women enrolled at the Coast Guard Academy. I'm really excited about the talent and the diversity that I see coming through the academy. My daughter is in the Coast Guard as a lieutenant, and there is just nothing but opportunity for her and all of the men and women that have joined the service. I'm really excited about the future as we look ahead.
All right, here to discuss clearances and woke ideology is former Congressman, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. Colonel, nice to see you. I know you just got back from D.C. as well. When Donald Trump makes a promise, some people go, oh, that will never happen. When Donald Trump makes a promise, let me be crystal clear. When he says he's going to do something, he does it. And here he is cleaning up DEI and so forth. Day one, his first full day. Colonel, what do you make of it?
No, absolutely right. And his promises made, promises kept. And I think that there are going to be other senior ranking individuals in the United States military, to include the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Air Force General Charles Brown, who, when he was the chief of staff of the United States Air Force, he signed a memo saying that he wanted to reduce the number of white male pilots in the United States Air Force. Who cares? Why would you, penalize someone just because of their gender and their skin color? But that's the type of person that we have had now as the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff. So I would say he needs to start packing his bags as well as other members of the Army and the Marine Corps, the Navy, and the Air Force.
As a former military man yourself, this is a pretty simple question. If you're in a tough spot and you need somebody to come bail you out, do you care if it's a man or a woman, black or white? I don't care. I just need somebody that wears the uniform and has respect and has my back to come get me out of a tight spot. That's all it comes down to, right? Having qualified people in the right positions.
No, you're absolutely right. I was a ground combat guy. I was an artillery officer. And if you're down in a tough spot and you call in for close air support, I'm not going to, call in and say, OK, what color is the pilot that's coming in? What gender is the pilot that's coming in? What school did they go to? How long have they been in? Look, all I care about is, can they put the bomb on the coordinates that I gave them, and make sure that we are successful in a ground combat operation. So I think we're going to move away from that. And I think you're going to see recruiting and retention pick up, because the young men and women out there in the United States of America, they want a commander-in-chief that they can believe in, a commander-in-chief that has their back. And that's completely 180 degrees different from what we saw with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, especially when you look at the Afghanistan debacle.
Completely agree with that. Now, there's also this war of words. We've already seen the nonsense today. Senator Chris Murphy and others climbing on this nonsensical fake outrage bandwagon that Elon Musk gave the Nazi salute. He did nothing of the sort. And it's embarrassing for the people that regurgitate this stuff. But also, it's embarrassing that we had 51 former intelligence community officials sign a letter saying that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. They knew it wasn't true, but they took their clearance and they used that as cover to go on to NBC and CNN and talk to the Washington Post and whomever else and say, look, we've got special clearance. We have special knowledge because we have security clearance. And then they went and lied. Yes. That clearance has now been stripped. They don't have that ability anymore to manufacture stories, to generate a narrative, to attack Donald Trump. It's the right thing to do. And he said they're going to go further and put parameters on the guidelines for people to retain, those security clearances. What do you think what did you think when you heard all that?
Well, it's the absolute right thing to do. It comes down to some very simple words: the need to know. And if you don't have a need to know, you don't need to know. And I think a lot of these individuals are going in and saying, I have a security clearance. I'd like to be able to look at this information, so they can go out and propagandize that information, or as you just said with those 51 intelligence officers, just completely lie. But when you look at Mark Milley and the fact that Joe Biden gave him a preemptive pardon. Guess what? Donald Trump has the absolute right to go in and say, hey, General Milley, you don't have a security clearance anymore. It's going to be revoked. So you can preclude him from going on and making all these pronouncements about defense policy. And also, when you look at someone like Anthony Fauci, something that we can do is you can strip him of this federal marshal protective service that he has. He actually has federal marshals that protect him and escort him around. So you can do a lot of different things in stripping these people of these special privileges that they no longer deserve.
Yeah, let me ask you one more thing. I mean, once you're in the military, you're always in the military. If there was something that happened today, they could call you and say, Colonel, you're back in today, couldn't they?
Oh, yeah.
And if they could do that, couldn't they do that to Milley? And if they could do that to Milley, couldn't they bring him under the Universal Code of Military Justice and say, we don't care about the pardon. Here's where we're going to talk to you. And I think that would be outside the scope of the pardon. I'll give you the last word on that.
You are absolutely right. The Uniform Code of Military Justice is completely different from the Civilian Code of Justice. I mean, you lose some rights when you join the military. So there are things that General Milley can be charged on under the UCMJ that could be directed, charges against him as this current commander-in-chief. Has nothing to do with the pardon that was given by Joe Biden. And again, with this preemptive pardon, it means that he can't go in and claim the Fifth Amendment anymore. You know, I'm not going to talk about it. And basically, you have said that there's some guilt there, and that's why I'm putting out this pardon. So he really did screw these individuals, if you ask me.
In many ways, I think you're right, Colonel. Thank you for being here today. We'll talk again soon because
my pleasure. It's
happening fast and furious, and he's going to get a lot more done, a lot more to talk about. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. God bless. Take care, Steve.
There you have it. God bless you, my friend.